If you want to pump your body and expand your mind, there's only one place to go. Mind Pump. Mind Pump with your hosts, Sal DiStefano, Adam Schaefer, and Justin Andrews.
In this episode of Mind Pump. So look, for the first 51 minutes, we like to have a fun conversation. Sometimes it gets a little raw.
It was a little extra fun this time.
We don't necessarily talk about fitness for that first period, but we do have a lot of fun. So here's what we talk about for the first 51 minutes of this episode. We talked about the top Instagram earners. There's people that make like $30,000 a sponsored post on Instagram. Crazy. Wow. I think the top person sells makeup. Is that true?
Yeah.
I think that's what
Worth
it is.
like $500 million.
Yep, you can hear about Adam's business idea regarding makeup too. That was cool. And we also talked about Adam's Grindr meetup.
That's right, bro face.
Did he follow through, or was it an accident? Then I mentioned how in the UK, if you like looking at porn, you're going to need to get a porn pass pretty soon. Yeah. So move to the
Better
U.S.
start filling out that application.
Where in the U.S. anybody can look at porn. Then we talked about powdered alcohol. That's fun.
It doesn't sound dangerous at all.
We talked about one of our sponsors, Vuori. Now they make phenomenal activewear for men that looks really good. You can actually go to their website, VuoriClothing.com/mindpump. To spell Vuori, it's VUORI clothing.com/mindpump. Check out their clothes. It's our favorite workout clothes. Also, you can wear them out when you're not working out. You'll get 25% off if you use that link. Then we talked about staying clean and tidy. We were talking about our houses and not our bodies. And then we talked about how to use some of our favorite supplements and products from Organifi. They make organic health supplements. If you go to Organifi.com/mindpump and use the code MINDPUMP with no space, you'll get 20% off. Then we get into the fitness part of the episode. We answer some questions. The first question was, what is our opinion on those vibrating and pulsating tools that every celebrity and gym seems to be promoting? You may have seen these on social media. They look like little handheld jackhammers.
Vibrating things are so hot right now.
Yeah, and they supposedly loosen up muscles, get you to move more. Some of them even say they burn body fat. They don't. Find out what our opinion is on them and how to use them properly. The next question was, what are our thoughts on elevating your heels during squats? A lot of people find that they can go deeper and it feels more comfortable when they have something underneath their heels when they do squats. Is that a good idea? Is it a bad idea? Or is the answer somewhere in the middle? The next question, what's the difference between discipline and restriction? Is there a difference? Which one is a better long-term approach? And the final question, how would we go about training someone who constantly tries to stall and talk during their sessions? Now, we came at this from a workout partner perspective. What do you do if your workout partner just wants to bullshit the whole time? And we came at this from a personal training perspective. Your client hired you, but really doesn't like to work out. They just want to talk.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Those gabby geese.
Also, this month, MAPS Anabolic, our flagship foundational workout program, excellent for speeding up your metabolism, building muscle, and building strength, is 50% off.
And
half
confidence.
Off. It's also going to be re-released in a new version. The workout will be the same, but it's going to look new and awesome with new videos. If you enroll in MAPS Anabolic this month, or if you already have the program and have had it for a long time, you will get updated for free, but it's 50% off this month. So if you don't have the program, go to mapsfitnessproducts.com, use the code RED50, RED50 without a space, for 50% off. On that site, you'll find all of our other MAPS fitness programs as well, and bundles that combine multiple MAPS products. Again, it's mapsfitnessproducts.com.
Hey, I like your stories lately.
Which ones?
Your stories that you've been posting right now on Instagram.
Oh, the
I like
articles?
I like when you post, because what's nice about it on the stories is you talk a lot about the stuff on the show, and there's certain things that I want to read, and there's certain things I don't give a shit about. But when you put it on the story like that, I can go, oh, this is what Sal talked about the other day, and I click on it and I can watch it. Are you getting a lot of people that are clicking through and watching it?
Tons
Really?
yeah, it depends on what kind of article it is.
Oh, good. I'm glad you're doing that then.
Yeah, people really like lists, you know? Like,
Yeah, you're like my new Cosmo.
You know what's so I was thinking that it'll probably provide some kind of value like that, right? Like people will go and check the Insta story to see if
I used to
what's the latest
read
thing to read?
Cosmo when I was in high school.
Right.
Of course, so did I.
Yeah,
Did
you
you
want to
really?
get inside the
Yeah.
lady brain.
Right.
That, well, it was also before you had access to porn on your phone, so you just and it was
that's true.
if it was in the bathroom, it was
I don't
close
remember-
as
It's
you're
either
gonna
that
get.
or National Geographic.
I don't remember a lot of good pictures being in there.
It was the talk in there. You read the articles about like what girls do.
Oh,
and this
yeah.
and that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's like the playbook.
10
for
best
women.
moves for BJs.
And the articles in
You're
there
like, there's
are
only one.
always silly.
What is that about people and lists? You know who's hacked that really well is our good friend Max Lugavere. He's figured out the list thing, the 3 best this or the this that not that something about that.
He has a really good pulse of like the general America being on Dr. Oz and all these other shows.
You think that's
and-
what it is?
Yeah,
You tribute
I think
Dr.
he knows. I think he knows the audience. You know,
General America.
that's a new term I'm coming up with. General America.
He's a general American.
Yeah.
He's been on Oz.
No, I don't know. People like lists.
Mainstream America. There you go.
I think because lists simplify complex things. So, like, if I wrote an article that said, why your relationship, how relationships fail, right? That could be a very complex article. But if I say the top 3 reasons why relationships fail, it takes a complex issue, makes it super simple, and I can skim through and find the top 3 reasons why.
Yeah.
So that's probably
You just have to
why I
always
think
remember people are lazy.
super lazy.
Is why it works.
Yeah, but I like posting the articles because the only thing I don't like about it is when you post an article, people can't message you off of it. They have to separately DM you. You know what I'm saying? So like if you put an article
Right.
and you put the link,
Right.
the only thing I can do is swipe up. I can't comment and say
right.
what I think about
Yeah,
it. Which
yeah.
I hope they change that because I feel like
How would that work? How would that work? What would you want it to do differently? I don't understand.
I would want people
Just
to be
has
able to.
that little like toolbar at the bottom, like you normally would have. Like if you post a meme, you could talk shit about that meme.
Yeah, like oh my god, that's funny
Yeah.
or whatever. I wish.
like if you put the swipe option, it gets rid of that.
Yeah, like I would like it for people to be able to, from there, just comment on what they thought.
Oh, I get what you're saying. So
Yeah.
like right now when I do like a story or I do a picture or something like that, someone comments on it, I know they're commenting on that
Yeah.
specific picture.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if I do a swipe up
Yeah,
and they comment, I don't know they're commenting on that.
they don't. They can't. They have to go straight and DM you. They have to take another step.
Now, are you able to keep up with your? It's now come. I haven't brought this up on the show, so I should actually know we're talking about this, and I want to apologize because I think something that we have prided ourselves on for a really long time in this for 4 years in this business has been able to interact and respond to all the questions that we get. I mean, we really, I think, all do a pretty good job of answering all YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, DMs, all of it, and try and interact with our audience as much as possible. It has officially come to the point where I cannot do it. It's impossible for me to get to everybody, and so if you're in my DM still and I haven't responded to you and it's been days or weeks or whatever, I apologize. It's gotten to the point now where it doesn't matter if I spend a couple hours a day on it. I just can't quite keep up with all of it. So my answer to that, or what I'm trying to do right now,
You just look at the picture.
Hire some bots. That's what I did.
Are we both wrong?
Yeah, you're both wrong.
Damn it.
What I'm trying to do, and I'm going to try to get more organized about it so I can answer more and be more interactive with it, and then people can kind of like try and time it. If you have like a question you definitely want me to answer, is doing once a week the Q&A thing that I do. You guys see me how I've done that before, where I just ask me anything.
Yeah.
I try and do that once a week right now.
So that
you're
then
good
have
about that.
people ask you questions.
Then at that time, right? Because what I do is I literally dedicate like 2 to 3 hours minimum on the days that I do that. Where
It
I'm
seems as though that's accelerated too. It started out with like 20, then it's 50, now it's like 100 something. Like
oh
your
yeah,
answer is
I
crazy.
I don't even get through all of them. So
Yeah.
I don't. And obviously there's some like Sal loves to put like stupid ones in there all the time. Like I'll get like 5 from him that are like racist, sexist.
You're like, come on, man.
He's just trying to set me up because it doesn't show his name, right? It just shows the question right there. So fuckers
What do
always
you
try to-
really think about?
I love when
Justin?
you get I love when he gets on people's like Instagram live and then like you ask them a question and then they look at it and you see an expression on their face and they keep going and you're like, I know you saw that.
Social media was made for that.
Yeah.
I think it was absolutely made for
Dude,
that.
I read. Was it your article? Also, this might have been another one of your things that you. It was what you posted.
The top posted
Yes.
paid influencers.
I found that incredibly fascinating. That the top, I think it was 10 or 20 highest paid influencers on Instagram. I didn't know a single one.
And what
That is crazy to me.
What they did is they took.
Does that make you feel really old, or
Makes me feel very insignificant.
yeah?
Well, it makes me.
It makes me feel like there's a huge ocean.
Well, I love it. I love
Yeah.
the fact that I don't know who they are because.
No, it's just a good thing.
Yeah, because
But
what
it's
they
crazy.
What they did is they didn't select celebrities. Like,
Right.
It's
There's-
easy to go like Ronaldo.
Yeah, it's
or-
different if it's Paris Hilton. She's already
Right.
famous. If she gets on
Right.
Instagram, then you're out. But just random people that have become these massive influencers are on Instagram.
Number one was that I don't remember her name.
makeup chick.
Yeah, and she makes $18,000 per sponsored post on Instagram.
Oh,
So if
congratulations!
she just posts something on Instagram, she'll make 18 grand just off the sheer number of people.
How many
that-
times does she have sponsored ads? Did it say?
I have no idea how they would even organize that.
Yeah, I doubt
wonder
you.
how they-
I doubt you do a ton.
Yeah, exactly. I would think you'd spread it out.
Yeah, I mean, you're making 18 grand every time you post. You post one a week, you're balling. You know.
Well, I would-
I mean, you're doing pretty damn well just by doing that.
I would think that even if you did one a month, you're doing pretty damn good. I would think that she probably makes a majority of her revenue off of her own stuff. Her own.
She started a
products and
makeup
stuff.
line.
Yeah, see,
there you go.
Yeah.
That's got to be where she.
Which
makes
thing
it.
about that? I mean, if she's smart, she starts her own makeup line.
Yeah,
she's
that's a good
I
pivot.
can just imagine based off of Mind Pump and how small our reach is. If you had a makeup line, and then in addition to that, you're also making $18,000 a post, and you're right, she probably makes way more on her own personal product.
Well, there was that one YouTube celebrity girl who did makeup, and she had a monthly subscription model. And I forgot what the
$7 million a month.
I feel like
A
we should be
month.
selling.
It was something
toenail
stupid.
paint
It
for
was
Adam.
something ridiculous.
7 million a month.
Something ridiculous.
So
like that.
so God, makeup is a huge market, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's got to be a massive market, and guys are starting to wear makeup
So
now.
massive.
I feel like
I
it's,
really want Adam to get into this.
I actually looked into it.
oh no,
You know who did?
Dude.
You know who did? My buddy and I. You know Lawrence.
Yeah.
You know Lawrence.
Yeah,
So this was like fuck. I don't know, like 8 or 10 years ago. So the hustle was to buy these Mac products at wholesale and then go down to the flea market and flip it and sell it. And you can make a ton of money doing that.
Wait a minute.
Or you could back then. I don't know if it's still.
So
like,
you buy it at wholesale, so you get it for cheaper, sell it at the
yeah,
flea
you go
market
buy
for
it. You would buy in bulk. That's what,
what
we
would
were
the,
going
what would the markup be?
It's like a double up.
That much?
Yeah. If you can get it at wholesale, so you just need your wholesale license, which Lawrence had that at that time because he was doing sneakers and other stuff. And we talked about this, and he's like, dude, you want to go in with me and we'll buy bulk. We'll buy like $5,000 worth of makeup. We'll go down to the flea market on the weekends and we'll flip it and we'll sell it.
No way.
Yeah, I was
I
this.
couldn't imagine watching.
I know, right? I was this close to doing it. It was. I think this was when I was also doing the detailing business. So two ideas that I thought were actually really smart ideas. It's just that one, I never wanted to sell makeup, and two, I never wanted to wash cars. I just thought the business was smart.
And it was two big factors, right?
And
there.
then, right, which as a young kid or young aspiring entrepreneur, you don't really think about that stuff. You think about
Money.
yeah, the money and the potential of it and stuff like that. Which we had a question the other day about entrepreneurship, and I mean that's to me that you can have a great idea and it could be very successful, but what you might find out sometimes is that you just don't fucking like doing it or you don't want to do it. You know.
What does that say right there, Doug? Is that how much she's worth?
Yeah, this woman, her name is Huda Katan. Her approximate cost per Instagram post is $33,000. YouTube earnings $134,000, but she started a makeup line. I think it brings in $550 million. Or at least that's her net worth.
$500 million?
That's her net worth.
So, again, like I said, men are starting to wear makeup nowadays. That's an untapped market.
Wow.
Makeup for men.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. Bro face.
Bro
face.
I'm going to start it.
It's not a bad idea.
Am I right?
I like the name too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You wanna
because it's like, we were talking about the androgyny factor and like women are into that whole thing, There might be something there about, you're going to the gym, but you want a little bro face.
Did you guys all watch American Meme yet?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you haven't? Did you watch You last night?
I watched the first episode.
Just one?
I did. Just one. What are you talking about? Just one?
Well, because one episode.
I wake up in the morning early, dude. I gotta get the kids ready for school and shit. I can't go to bed at midnight like
Oh
you.
God.
Yeah, I gotta.
The drawbacks of being a daddy.
Yeah, well, whatever. But it was pretty good. The first episode was good. I think I'm gonna like it.
Oh, you're gonna like it even more then, because
Yeah.
I think almost all first episodes, especially on good ones, tend to be a little slower because you just got to kind of build. You got to build the character. You got to build.
Yeah.
You set the stage, right?
Yeah.
So it gets.
He's a psycho, dude.
Yeah,
and I don't want to say too much. I don't want to ruin it for anybody. But the guys, are you guys watching Bird Box yet, or no?
No,
I'm not
I
gonna
actually.
ask anymore.
I know you're not going to ask me.
I will.
You're fed up with me. I'm finally catching up with Making a Murder, like the end of.
Oh my God,
that whole thing. Yeah, I know.
Where you
I'm
been,
like
guy?
old news.
Where you been,
old
guy?
news guys?
It's like 100
but
episodes
I have to catch
ago.
up, dude.
Did you get your limb out of your roof?
I did.
You did?
I sawed that up. Yeah.
How difficult was that?
It was really heavy. Like I didn't realize how dense and heavy it was. It was like, I mean, I sawed it in half. It was probably like 150 pounds or something, like just the bottom half of it. And so I was struggling to pull that thing out of the top of the roof. And the hole was
that big?
long.
It was huge. You didn't see the picture?
It was
did,
forked.
but
There was like a big fork. That's what stopped it from going all
massive.
the way through. The fork kind of stopped it. So, but anyway, yeah, I'm gonna have to get that fixed and repaired.
Well,
by
most
a
important
professional.
question:
Yeah.
Did you get laid or what?
I mean, you bet your sweet ass.
I'd rather not. So it worked, huh? So you got up there, started sawing away.
It must be the sawdust or something.
Shirt came off, and it was just, and then it worked.
It did work. And I think it's almost at a level where it's kind of predictable. So I'm getting worried about it.
What if
I'm trying to like sprinkle it in here and there?
What
now.
if it doesn't really get her in the mood? She's just trying to encourage behavior. You know, like you do with like a dog. Like you give him a treat.
Either way, I really don't care. That's where I'm at.
I feel like I'm too lazy doing the work. I would just like drive by like construction sites. You know what I'm saying? So I would just take her for a ride. No,
It just shows you how easily manipulated.
Yeah,
you
she
are.
gets turned on like that. Like I don't want to get out there and do the fucking work. I'll just drive her down to some construction sites.
You want to be you want the assist?
Yeah.
You're gonna stand next to the hoop. Yeah. Hey, hurry up, guys! Pass the ball.
Come on, guys.
Wow.
Let's get this done.
Nail up some of those boards real quick. Hold on, so my wife
I got
can watch.
lube and I got a lot of plans.
So Katrina told me to remind you about Grindr.
Oh God.
Yeah. What is this?
So first of all, I think it.
We know what Grindr is.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
To be honest with you, I actually don't know that much about it.
Yeah.
I don't. Obviously,
Yeah. Me either. Yeah.
It's just like Tinder, right? Isn't it the same thing?
No, I think it's different. It's more meetup like. First of all, the story I think is way funnier from her perspective, because she went and told everybody at her work, and she's like, "I can't believe you didn't talk about this on Mind Pump." I'm like, because it's not as funny from my perspective as it is from yours. Because when she tells a story, she tells it as if she's the guy or she's her, and she's watching it happen to me, versus what it was like for me.
What happened to you?
So just like 2 nights ago, we're walking the dogs late at night, and it's like 8 or 9 at night, and I just throw on whatever I have. So it's like I don't think I even had underwear on. I'm wearing like fucking
like a shawl,
skinny sweats. I've got like my bomber jacket and like beanie. And I just look.
Keep going.
Right, right. And we walk the dogs. Now I walk Mozzie, she walks Bentley. And you would probably think the opposite because Bentley's a bigger dog and Mozzie is the smaller one. But those are like our dog. Like Mozzie is attached to me more, Bentley's attached to her more, and so that's how we walk them. And we're walking around the corner, and Mozzie's playing with a stick and stuff, and she gets ahead of me by I don't know, maybe 5-10 yards. And I'm standing there, and this car pulls over. Now, from her perspective, this is what she's saying, and she's like, tall, good-looking, buff guy walking a cute little white fluffy dog who's playing with a stick, and so then this car pulls up, and the guy pulls up and he hollers at me, and he rolls the window down, and I didn't hear what he said, and I'm like, huh? And he like shows me the phone, and he's like, Grindr.
No.
Yeah, so he thinks he's meeting up with me for Grindr. And I'm like,
He's like, oh, I'm ready.
yeah, I'm like, no, no, not me, bro. So, but she thought it was hilarious.
steps out in sweatpants,
Yeah, she thinks it's hilarious because she's thinking the guy's looking for his Grindr meetup, and he's driving around, and he's like, oh, please God, be this guy, this buff, good-looking guy with a cute little white dog.
Baby Jesus, yes.
Yeah, so he's just all excited as he pulls up, and then I totally let him down and tell him, no, it's not me, dude. So I
You're
guess
such a heartbreaker.
What kind of car was he driving?
Oh, what was it? It was like a
It's a Ferrari. Adam's like, hold on a second.
no, it wasn't like that.
No, it was more like a Miata.
No, it was like Taylor's car. What's the little Infinity? Oh, your car, like an Infinity, like that.
Older model.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little bit older. It wasn't a nice.
What did he look like?
Looked like he was either Hispanic or Asian. It was dark, right? So and he was in his car. Probably, I don't know. He didn't look fit. He didn't look overweight, like an average looking guy.
So he's literally like just showing his phone.
Yeah, he pulls up right next to me, and he leans over the passenger side, and he's like shaking his phone and looking at me. Grinder, and I'm like, and the first time I didn't put it together, like, huh?
Yeah.
And then he's Grinder, and I'm like, no, not me, bro. So I guess
I got a great place.
Hey, what if he came at the wrong day? He's all, no, Katrina, I have no idea who that guy is. And he's like texting him later. He's like, I told you Thursday. What the fuck?
Thursday.
So I'm assuming, because I don't know, I've never been on Grindr, but I guess it, and you bring up like Tinder. I think it's actual meetup. I think it's like meetup and fuck.
Well, I think it's Tinder, but with just men. So what would just guys do with an app like Tinder? Right. Obviously.
Just fuck.
Yeah, think about it. Like how's
that go?
Obviously, like
everybody's
a pig like you,
bro. No, but they're all men.
So they don't want to get together and read poetry.
Well, I mean,
right?
I don't want to stereotype, but they're guys. Look, let me ask you a question. When you're going back and forth with the girl, talking or whatever, there's a lot of the like, okay, we got to talk. Imagine if it was just like Justin.
Dude.
Yeah, imagine if it was just Justin.
You think that guys,
you'd be like, hey,
guys would just be more direct,
or don't imagine it.
Way more direct. You know what I'm saying? Of course they're going to be like that. They're guys, so of course it's going to be more.
So it's just
meetup.
It's just a meetup and fuck app.
Like they don't even usually talk. Just like,
Because I would think there's apps just like Tinder or whatever that's just for gay men that is just like Tinder, but it's just purely gay men on there. Mm-hmm. Or I would think that Tinder has an option on there that you would put gay male and it matches you with all gay. I don't think you need to go to. So I think it's a different
option.
I think it's a different app, bro. I don't think it's exactly like Tinder because I think Tinder already has all those options, doesn't it?
I have no idea.
I can't imagine that Tinder wouldn't make an option for
straight
or gay.
Bi,
yeah, that's pretty obvious to me. That would be a no-brainer that you would put that in there. So
I don't know.
Yeah. So I think Grindr is literally made to meet up and fuck.
So it's another dating app, but mainly for.
I don't think it's a dating app. I think it's a fucking app.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah, remember Adult Friend Finder?
God, that's old school.
Yeah, it is. I think that's what was it called.
I still get ads for that.
Do you know I have a buddy that met his wife through that?
What? No, and they're still together?
Yeah, they got kids
way.
and everything.
No way.
Yep.
Really?
That is a love story.
He went on Adult Friend Finder, met this girl to hook up with, and they fell in love.
So I trained.
They have kids together.
I trained a girl.
That's a great story.
It's beautiful.
I trained a girl that was one of the ladies responsible for the creation of it. I don't know how high up she was or whatever, but it was way before I even knew what the fuck it was. She introduced me to it, and she was just like selling me on how great it was. Wow. She's like, oh, I travel all over the world, and all I have to do is put in my location, and there's 5 or 6 people that I could fuck there in that area, and I'm just all nonchalant.
I always feel like that women don't need that, though. It's kind of easy, right? Isn't it much easier for a woman?
I don't know about that, Sal.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't think it's that easy?
I mean, if you're a dime,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think it might.
Even if you're not, though, you could be a nickel. And I think you might be okay.
Yeah, you can be a penny.
Yeah,
I mean, somebody's out there.
I don't think men are that crazy desperate, are they? I mean, I think it's
we're just not as
Some
hard. And, no pun intended.
Yeah.
We're not that difficult, in that sense. Like it's not hard to find a man who just wants to have sex. It's much more complicated to find a woman who just wants to have sex. That's a fact. I think that's a fact.
I think that the roles are reversed a little bit.
Well, maybe it cuts out the whole having to wait till, forever till the bar closes,
Exactly.
It's just right to the point.
Yeah. So did you guys see that one post that I did that Taylor got a little irritated with me because I put the little emojis of the, it was like the little peach and the eggplant. Yeah.
You did that?
Well, I did because the
You
article.
put that on there, yeah.
I put it on. So the article is, and I didn't know this. So
I didn't see you do that.
Did you guys know that in the UK, starting in spring, you're going to need to have a government ID?
Oh, I did see that.
You have to apply for an ID to watch porn online.
Like you literally fill something out.
You have to.
Hey, I would like to watch porn, please.
Yeah, you're going to have what's called a special porn pass. From the government, it's gonna. And so when you go on,
carry it around with you?
No, I think you go online and.
Do you think this is a bad idea?
Yeah, I think it's a. Here's the thing. I don't think I don't think it's great for everybody to look at porn all the time. We've talked about that before, but I do think it's a bad idea.
That's
the
a
government,
personal, decision.
yeah, what are they doing? Morality. They're trying to legislate morality.
Oh my God, you did do
Wow.
the peach and
Wasn't
wow, that is a little.
And I'm sure it's going to cost money to get this ID. So of course, this is a way for them to raise money.
Now when you
didn't they put a tax on was it soda or I think I remember like back in the day that it was like some form of like it was either some sugar tax or something. Am I wrong in that? Do you remember that?
I don't know. I don't know.
I remember there being a movement in that direction is in terms of trying to get everybody healthier by putting more of a tax on shitty food.
All I know is with this porn pass thing, it's going to be super easy to get around. I can only imagine, right? Like all somebody has to do is screenshot or download a bunch of it and then share it through other means. And then how are they going to control it? You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's no different than
stealing music
or getting alcohol when you're a kid that's underage.
Alcohol is way harder though. You can't download alcohol.
Well, yeah, no, it's harder.
Can you imagine if you could download alcohol?
You can get it in the
One
mail
day,
now.
maybe.
You can get it in the mail in powder form.
Can
No.
you?
Yes.
Oh, I heard about this.
Yes. It's so dangerous. I can't believe that passed.
Yeah, you could actually buy powder alcohol.
Yeah.
And reconstitute it, right, in liquid or water or whatever.
Yes.
How have I never heard of this?
That's right.
It's crazy. Like think about how dangerous that is.
That's great.
Pouring a bunch of powder and you don't even know. Like some kids getting a hold of that.
And as I say, and you control the percentage of it. I would imagine. Then I mean, you could water it way down, or you could put just a little bit of water.
Yeah. And what if you fuck up with a decimal? You know what I mean? You put the decimal in the wrong place, and I think this is 5% alcohol, and it's
Well, I'm buzzed.
50.
you die. Yeah. There was a kid that actually died. Yeah. See, there it is. Alcohol, powdered alcohol. Look at that. That's crazy.
Yes, it's real. It's already banned in New York.
Of course.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Good luck.
I did not know this.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
There was a
Can
kid.
we order some, Doug? Maybe.
It's probably
try?
gross.
I mean, I want to see it.
Well, that reminds. Remember when we were in Austin and we tried it was like a vape of alcohol.
Oh, this is new. This is only 2015.
Look at the name of it.
I don't feel so bad anymore.
The name of his company, Palcahol.
alcohol. Like it's my friend.
Yeah,
No,
it's
you're
like
not my
that.
friend.
Would you like to forget everything?
Are you lonely?
Yeah. Do you want to
Do you want
die?
a pal?
But kind of do
Yeah.
it in a funner way.
Do you want to die in a
Try
fun,
Palcahol,
in a blazing glory?
and then you make up your own. Your own recipes and stuff. Wow, that's kind of
that's-
crazy right there.
I don't like that.
Powdered, when they put chemicals in powder form, you get there was a kid that died from powdered caffeine because he bought, which now I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you can't buy anymore. But he bought a bag of. It used to be really easy to do. Maybe you can still do it. Of powder caffeine, and caffeine is lethal.
Oh yeah, if you took like a handful of that powder and just threw it in your mouth,
So him and his
which
buddies.
some asshole has probably done.
Well, him and his buddies thought it would be funny if he ate a teaspoon of it, and he didn't realize he took like 2,000 milligrams or something like that.
Holy shit!
Of caffeine, which is like it's like 10 cups of coffee all at once, and he died.
Yeah.
He died from it. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep. No, it's real, man.
Wow.
It's pretty crazy. So
When you do the stories or memes and you do shit like that's edgy with like emojis like that Taylor doesn't like,
yeah.
do you get pushback by your followers?
No, they love it.
Yeah, or stuff that you say?
No.
We expect that.
I
from
get
you,
shit
pal.
all the time.
You get pushback?
Really?
Yeah, I do. It seems that anytime
Yeah, but I'm nicer than you. That's why.
yeah, no, I know you're more liked
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah,
If it was a scale of
I don't know about that.
of most to least liked,
yeah.
Justin easily.
Yeah, no,
No,
Justin
it's-
win. Justin and Doug win
Yeah,
for sure.
It's the feeling sorry factor.
Justin
You know
and
what I mean?
Doug are most liked. If on a scale of 1 to 10, they're 8 to 10.
Oh, you tried.
And
I love
you and I
for
fall in the
trying.
middle.
What did you say? It's the sorry
It's
factor.
the feeling sorry factor.
it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No,
It
it's
is.
No, it's not,
That's
dude.
cool. It's
No.
good.
You're just more relatable.
I like it.
It's true.
You're
It's
more.
true.
You're more relatable.
Yeah. No.
I'm fluffier.
So what kind of pushback do you get?
People always try, and here I don't know the right answer to this, right? Like, what do you guys believe? Here because we've built this platform, because there is now a lot of people that listen to the show and follow everything that we're doing. Do you believe that we have some sort of responsibility because of that?
I feel it. I definitely feel a certain responsibility. For example, if I give out like really terrible or dangerous fitness or nutrition advice, I know that there's people who I know some people who follow me will be like, okay, Sal said it, therefore it must be true.
I agree with this because that is what we've built this platform on, is our fitness knowledge and experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I do feel the I'll go with this one. I do feel the responsibility of the information that we present related to that. Mm-hmm. I would think that I don't know if I would consider myself an expert, but I would think that I am a professional in that field. Therefore, if I'm presenting information related to health and fitness, I do feel a responsibility to present good information, right? Everything else, though, is fucking fair game, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Everything else is me. Yeah. Everything else is...
Well, the responsibility being that you're authentically who you are.
And that's how I feel. I feel it's more important for me to say how I feel, be who I am, be as authentic as I possibly can, regardless if it fucking offends a bunch of people or not, than it is for me to be careful of what I say because I might hurt somebody's feelings or... You know, it was related to the recent episode we just did where I was talking shit about my roommate, Casey. And I was rolling him under the bus.
Oh, that was a
roast.
Fuck
yeah,
that guy,
and of course, like, you know, some people come to his rescue about addiction, you know, and you know, I can't
really,
yeah, and they're giving me shit that
because you were talking shit because he was a cokehead. You were
right.
People were like, you need to be more sensitive about that.
Right. And listen, it's not that I don't have empathy for addiction. I too have battled with addiction. I mean, anybody that has, and will probably tell you that opiate addiction is probably the fucking worst.
Yeah.
And it was a nightmare. So it's not that I don't have empathy for somebody that struggles with that, but I also don't feel sorry. And I don't want anyone to feel sorry for me. Mm-hmm. Like, I fucking made the choice to put those in my mouth. I made the choice to keep coming back and doing it again. Like, don't feel sorry for me.
I just don't understand why it's okay to call somebody an asshole if they do other things, but not an asshole if they're... I mean, it started somewhere. It was his decision.
Right.
And so, you know...
Well, not to mention that I actually went light on the guy. Like, there's a lot of things that...
There was way more shit.
Yeah, there's way more shit that fucker did, like, as far... okay, here's an example I'm talking about. I had Justin, you remember my lifted Chevy, right?
Yeah.
That shit was 3 weeks old. And I was taking him out because he had a really rough, like, something happened in his family. I don't even remember what it was. But I wanted to bring him up to my best friend's house and take him wakeboarding and kind of get his mind off of it, being a good dude. And he's in the back seat of my brand new fucking truck and lights up a cigarette. And I'm like, oh, dude. I'm like, can you wait? And he's just like, oh, man. You know, and he's kind of like making me feel bad about telling him no, right? And I'm like, fuck, okay, just please be careful back there. Son of a bitch fucking burns a hole in my seats, dude.
Oh, my God.
It's brand new. I mean, there's a laundry list of things that this guy did.
Straight up asshole.
And I was a really good person to him. And then you're addicted to coke and I don't know about it and you don't express it. You don't give me an opportunity to even help you there. Like, fuck you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I don't feel sorry for talking shit about that person. Like, and I think I could have went on and on and on about all kinds of other stuff. So, and then somebody...
Do you know what he's up to now?
I have no idea. Yeah, I have no idea where he's at or where he's... It's been so long since I had...
Have you guys ever known somebody that was a complete just shit butt?
Degenerate.
And then like years later, you never heard from them, and then years and years later, you run into them and they're totally different? Has that ever happened to you?
Oh, yeah.
I had this sales guy, this guy that worked for me selling memberships, and he was... You know, he wasn't a bad dude. He was an okay salesperson. You know, he showed up to work and did his job, but he was kind of a slime ball. You know what I mean? Just kind of a douchebag. Just the way he talked about girls, the way he whatever. Mm-hmm. And you know, somebody you would not trust around your sister or friends that were female or anything like that, right? I see this guy. I became friends with him on Facebook like a month ago. He's got 4 kids. Talks all about. He's like super hyper Christian now. Always talks about God. You know, I love my family, this and that. Talks to me, you know, comments on certain things. Totally different. Yeah. Completely different person. So it's weird to see that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I ran into this bully, like, from junior high. I remember distinctively, I hated this guy. Like, he was just such a dick to everybody. And, like, you could tell something must have, like, now that I think about it, something must have been happening at home where he was just lashing out on everybody. But, I mean, he picked, like, we got in a fight because he picked up this, like, dirty condom, like,
whoa,
and then like threw it at me. And,
what school did you go to?
I know, right? That's
a dirty condom on campus.
Yeah, on the junior high campus.
On junior high?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Oh my god!
Damn, dude.
Yeah, we were
gangster ass kids.
We were, you know, ahead of our time, I guess. But yeah, so that, I mean, I raged on the guy. We got into it and all this, and then like on the football field, it was great because he had never played a sport. I could tell. And then he thought he was all tough and like decided to in high school get on the football team. And I'm like, oh fuck yes, like, oh yeah, you're a tough guy, right? And so we get into like hitting drills, and I'm just unleashing on this guy like relentlessly over and over, just hitting him as hard as I can, and just this disdain. And then he's talking shit to me. We had this like just relationship where I'd see him on campus, and I just couldn't stand the guy. And I meet him at like one of the high school games, the old like alumni game or whatever. And he comes over and he like apologized to me, and I'm just like, ugh.
No way.
Yeah, and I didn't want, like, it was just like, it was hard for me to accept it, because I had so much of that, like,
you're like, I want to hate you.
I see his face, I'm just like, ugh, yeah, like, no, don't do that, like, yeah.
Oh,
but
man.
But it was good. It was good for me because it was like, wow, like people can change.
That's weird that he apologized too. Like,
yeah.
he's fully aware that he was a douchebag.
He knew he's a douche. But again, like, this is me like reflecting back, like, I guarantee he was going through all kinds of shit.
Are those Vioris?
They are.
Those sweats right there?
Yes.
Are those the new ones?
These aren't the brand new ones. So they have a new line that just came out.
Let me see.
Of the pants. This one with the little zipper on the side of them. I forget the name of these ones. These are my favorite pants that they have so far. But I'm really excited. I don't think I told you guys yet. When Taylor re-signed the contract with them, he negotiated an outfit for all of us every single month.
So we can pick out more?
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I forgot to tell you guys that. I was actually considering taking all 4 for myself, and I'm like, fuck, that's way too much. I don't need all.
What a jerk.
I would not put it past
He
you.
just decided right now.
Hey, I just told you.
He just
You're like,
decided.
oh yeah, we have to mention Viore. I guess I should mention this.
Literally this second, he just thought of it. It's the only.
Oh man,
It's the only like active wear or whatever you want to call it that I've gotten compliments on. Like, you
No,
never get
it's-
complimented on sweats.
It's exciting. It's actually really exciting to see how rapidly they are growing in the fitness space. I mean, they really are making a run.
Now, do you like to work out in them also? Because they're designed for exercise.
Yes and no. I don't think they're designed for just exercise.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
there's
active wear,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I can. It's very similar. I mean, I think and I'm sure they would be mad at me for mentioning this in a Viore mention, but what I think part of what made Lulu so popular was they created this great gym apparel wear that people were also wearing out because it looked good, it fit great, it's like comfortable, it's all the above, right? And it's made of high quality material, so it's nice.
it was fashionable.
So I prefer to work out in Viore, like the sweats or whatever.
Yeah, I would actually
because they don't. I hate working out in long pants. Period. End of story. But I don't mind the Viore ones because I don't feel like I'm suffocating in
That's
them.
the weird part. I even wear like so what do they call it? The technical pants, the actual pants, not the sweats.
Oh yeah, the tactical ones.
Yeah, so I've actually
Technical?
technical tactical. I don't know.
They're technically pants.
They're technically pants, like if you want to get to the brass tacks. But I can squat and I can deadlift and I can do all these things, and like I love it because I'll go work outside and then I'm like, oh, I want to get a little workout in, and I don't have to like make a whole big deal out of it where I have to go change and do all this stuff and then go back out. And so I've been like wearing pants, working out like the majority of the time now.
Yeah,
It's
I've always just hated working out in long pants. I feel constricted and suffocated.
and then I get really hot. Yeah.
Exactly, and so I've always hated it. I never understood how people could work out in sweats.
As much as I work out in it, I would say I wear it out more than anything else, though.
Yeah.
Like, because I like them. I like the fit. I like how they look. I like how they feel. Like,
Yeah, you can get away with it.
and I
with
can
those.
if I wear like today, I'm wearing them, right? So I could turn around and wear them in 2 days because they're not going to get really dirty unless I sweat in them. So if I sweat in them, I got to wash them. I got to wait for the rotation to come around, right? Which is like, Katrina does laundry once a week, so I got to wait till the following week before I wear them.
Yeah, because God forbid if you did laundry.
Easy, bro. Trying to ruin shit for me or what?
Dude, I just started
Don't
trying
fuck up
to
my
fold
household.
It.
Don't come and fuck up my household.
It's all right.
Things are going just fine over there. I'm saying.
It's so bad. Yeah, yeah, but you could do it every once in a while.
Little bus roll.
Just throwing a load. Not a big, it's not a
Sal
big
just
deal.
figured this out.
Yeah, it's
So
not a
he
big
wants to virtue signal it out.
Do you do your laundry?
I do. I like doing the laundry for. I have. Well, first of all, I have my kids, and so they have a lot of kids produce a lot of dirty.
It's
shit.
endless.
But I don't mind doing it because I put music on and it's kind of meditative. I know that sounds stupid, but it's a mental space I have to put myself in to do this kind of stuff. Otherwise, I'll dread it.
What house chores do you guys do and you don't do? Like, what do you guys like to do? You don't mind doing, and then like what you absolutely hate to do?
I do laundry quite a bit.
Who cleans the house most of the time for you? Like, who's doing the floors, the toilets? Who's cleaning the house?
Well, we have somebody that comes once a week to do that, but then Jessica does.
You got it made once a week?
Yeah, once. A week.
That's more than me.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That's a boy. You must.
Bro,
be
I got kids.
You must be a slob.
Once a month.
Yeah, I am.
I mean, we're on a every 10 days is what I have. I've figured it out after all these
10 days.
Yeah,
bro,
because
kids are messier than dogs. Bro.
Well, I was gonna say that's the only reason why I have it every 10 days. I would have it once or twice a month if it was just Katrina and I. But the dogs, I mean, their hair gets everywhere and have wood floors, so easily within a week you're starting to see hair, and that just drives me crazy, and it makes the place look dirtier than what it really is. So every 10 days I have somebody come in and take care of all the deep cleaning.
No, we like things to be organized and clean, so we have someone come once a week. But then Jessica does a lot of the stuff in the house. But if there's dishes, I'll clean them. If there's stuff that needs to get washed, I do a lot of laundry. That's my favorite thing to do. I guess.
Who's cleaner and messier out of you guys as partners? Like, who's the neat freak, or who's the clean one? Who's the dirty one?
Wow. We're probably both guilty. That's the problem.
You guys are both slobs?
Yeah, but in different ways. Like,
what do you mean?
In ways
like he always has food.
Like
on himself.
dirt wise, I'm like I track dirt, and I'm it doesn't bother me like dirt wise on the floors.
Yeah.
But actual clutter, it drives me fucking crazy. So,
okay.
So I am constantly grabbing things and trying to organize and put them in places and do things and build shit to put them in places. And every time I get home, there's stuff on the dinner table or like the counters that's just like strewn papers and clothes and whatever the fuck, and it drives me insane. But same on her end, where it's like I'm like she's like always sweeping like right after me because I'm just like tracking shit. I don't even realize it. But I used to hate washing dishes, but I realized like I have to like it, and like kind of what you figured out, Sal. Like it's like, no, this has to be my thing because I don't cook. I'm not a cook. I've done it. I'll do grilling all day. Like I'll do anything outside.
I feel like that counts. Why do people discount that? I feel like that counts.
Because you're limited, I think.
Yeah.
Like if at some
I
point.
can grill a lot of shit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only time I take over dinners.
Is grilling.
Yeah.
Same here.
In the summertime, I do most of the cooking because of that.
I actually really enjoy it. So so
do I.
That's so, and I love preparing that and marinating the meats and all that kind of stuff.
See, the way I cook is very much like a bodybuilder, I guess. Is I look at the foods as like proteins, fats, and carbs. Like, okay, what are we gonna?
Dude, I lived off the George Foreman grill in college, man.
Yeah, so my kids are always like, steak and rice again, broccoli again. I'm like, it's your vegetables.
It's exciting, right?
Yeah, there's nothing.
Nobody's excited.
There's nothing different or new about it. So Jessica's far more creative in that. What about you? Who's more clean? You or Katrina?
What's funny, and I think she's gonna be mad for me saying this right here, but when we first, so those that don't know, when Katrina and I first met, I'd only had my house for about a year later, and I sold it and I moved in with her. So I'm 20 years old when I get my place. So, and when I bought my place at 20 or 21, it was like a big deal for me, and I was like. I was super anal clean. White floors, white couches,
bleached anal clean.
No, totally. Everything was super clean, and I kept it like that. And when she came into the relationship, I was already moved out of my place. I was renting some of the rooms out, and I was on the way to selling it, and I really didn't care about it. I'm not in it or whatever, and I didn't care about the place. I moved in with her, and for the first time, and here I am at like almost 30 years old, and I'm living in her place, and I just didn't have the same sense of pride. I really didn't. And I remember we'd kind of get into it every once in a while because she would mention like, when I'd see your place, it was you never left shit out. You always did the dishes. Like, I'd feel guilty.
Now, would she pick up after you?
Yeah, she did.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah, no, she did. She absolutely did. And for a long time in our relationship, 6 or 7 of the 8 years, Katrina 100% did all the household stuff, cleaned up behind me. And I remember having like this, I struggled with this a lot. Like, why the fuck can't get up to do this stuff? And I would have moments or I would, because I'm like having all this self-talk, and then I would fall off the wagon again of doing that. And I really struggle with it. I know she was challenged with it a little bit. And by the way, too, I'm not messy, because this is me being going from like super anal clean guy to all of a sudden, okay, I'm not really picking up after myself, but I'm not a slob either. I would never let it get crazy. But enough to where she's having to pick up after me. Well, we just recently moved into where we're now 4 months or 5 months, I don't know, somewhere around there, into our new place. And it's just her and I, right? And when we did, we got rid of everything and started all from scratch, and everything's brand new in my house. Everything's brand new. It's nice. I picked it out, or she picked it out. We picked it out together. And now I'm back to me. Like I'm the one who comes behind her, and she'll come walking in from a long day of work. She sets her purse down on the counter. She throws her coat over the chair. She sets down whatever mail she was carrying, and I freak out right away. Like, why do you put this here? It has a place. Hang it up in here. So she's like, what the fuck? Like, where did this come from? Like, you were never like this. And I guess there's something to be said about that. When
now, is she happy now that you're doing
she
all
is.
that?
I mean, like,
or is she like, I like it the other way?
No, I think if you were to ask her, she greatly appreciates, because I help out around. I mean, many times she comes home now and the house is already spotless and clean, because, I mean, before I go to even work, she gets up earlier than I do and leaves. I clean in the morning, and then I clean again when I come back. So I'll get up in the morning, straighten up whatever dog toys we had out, or fold blankets, or get the couch all like back to like perfect. And then when I come home, I do it again. And so when she gets home from work later on the night, the house is normally clean. There's no dishes. There's no nothing. And
it's crazy how your environment will start to reflect the way you feel in your mind. Like if it's cluttered, if it's dirty, you start to feel anxious. You start to feel, and this is real. Many times anxiety experts will tell you, if you're very anxious, one of the things they'll tell you is to go organize your closet, or organize your garage, or organize your room, or
Have
whatever.
you guys seen the Tidying Up on Netflix?
I was just talking about that.
Yeah.
It's a great show.
No, I heard it was great. I was actually with my yesterday. I got my haircut, and I'm talking to my hairstylist. Which, by the way, I'm jumping all over stories here today. It's so crazy how once somebody looks at, or anything to do with Organifi has to be one of the best companies when it comes to retargeting people. And so I walk in the salon. I haven't been there in a few weeks, and I had 3 different hairstylists walk up to me asking me all about gold juice. And I was like, where's this coming from out of nowhere? And they must have all either bought a product or looked at something before, because they're all getting nailed with the new gold juice. And they said, like, hey, is it? And it reminds me too, and this is very important, I think, for us to like keep our pulse on how the average consumer looks at products and things like that. Because the questions they're asking me, I'm very honest about stuff, and I'm not gonna, just because we're sponsored by them, I'm not gonna push and sell a product hard. And they're like, hey, should I get that gold juice? It said this, and they're saying all these grandiose things, and I'm like, no, listen, like. It's not going to be, it's not something revolutionary. It's got stuff in it that's been around for a very long time. Do I use it? Absolutely. I love it. But is it something that I have to take every single night? No,
no supplement should be that.
No,
way.
It's not exactly. And I'm trying to I'm having this conversation with all of them. Like, it's because they were asking questions like, is it going to make this big difference?
Like, am I going to lose 30 pounds?
Right. Or is it like, oh my God, am I going to get the most amazing sleep because of it?
I think if people really had realistic expectations from supplements, like, okay, I'm going to take this and it's going to help with my digestion, or I may notice deeper sleep, or it's going to fulfill some of my nutrient requirements. I think the people would be much better off versus having these expectations that nothing will ever fill. Like, you can't. There's nothing that in the world that you'll take and it's going to just slap 10 pounds of muscle on your body and make you lose 30 pounds of body fat. It's not going to make you beautiful if you're ugly. It's not going to all of a sudden make you smart if you're dumb. But but there are some benefits, and I think people understand the real.
Well, what I explained to them, and what I said is that, listen, I love the gold juice. I absolutely use it.
Has that become your favorite now?
Of their products?
Yeah. Or is it still the green?
I mean, the green. Okay, if I were to say the things that I've used the most, I've used the green number one. I use that the most. Then maybe the gold, or a close second would be when I need protein, and when I need my protein intake, and I use the protein powder. Are probably the ones I use the most. But what I was trying to explain to them was, if you've got issues in your relationship, you're stressed at work, you got all this other,
You're not exercising.
you got all this stuff going on in your life, and you're having trouble sleeping, and then your answer is to buy the gold juice. Like you're not addressing the root cause.
Right.
Now, does that mean that I don't use it as a tool like that? No, I do. I mean, I know there's certain days when I have got a lot on my plate, and I know that I've been on my computer and my brain's going like crazy. And so then, yeah, and I've talked about it on the show before, I'll take, a couple droplets of my Ned, I'll take the orange juice and mix it in warm coconut milk.
Gold juice.
Or what did I say?
Orange juice.
I'll never get that. They hate me for that. I know they do. Right? They're like, Adam, you sell a ton of orange juice.
Florida loves
Yeah,
you.
Minute Maid is fucking killing it right now. But no, so I love it like that. And is there something about drinking the warm milk with it at night and kind of help settle me? I don't know, but it does help me in those cases. Now, do I use it every single night? No, I don't, because I don't want to have to use it every single night. I'd rather, if there's something in my life that's causing me horrible sleep every single night, I need to address that. Like, it's not a magic pill, right?
Yeah,
So,
I had to have a similar conversation with one of my best friends that, but in terms of like the green juice, because I actually gave him one of mine to try it out, because I knew his eating habits were just, atrocious. And when you're eating nothing but processed food all the time, I mean, he would work out and he was like fairly active, but I knew he didn't eat vegetables. Like, that was one thing I could see right away. Like, now him just drinking that consistently for like a week, I met up with him again, and he's just like had this like amazing, like eye-opening, like, oh my God, like I feel so much different. But it's because of the massive deficiency.
Yeah.
That's when you actually do feel like it's a magic pill. But then I have to like rein that in now. I'm
Right.
like, okay, like you see what that makes your body feel like, but like we have to incorporate real foods and vegetables in your life. That's what it's telling you.
It's also, too, a lot of people like to have a drink that tastes good at some point during the day. And believe it or not, I never realized this was a problem until I became a trainer, that some people just don't like drinking water all the time, which I think is weird, because I could just drink water all the time. It's not a problem. But a lot of people are like, well, I like to have a beverage that tastes good every once in a while.
Right.
So here you go. Drink this gold juice at night, or the green juice during the day.
I think it's like it's one of those things that I think everybody should have in their cupboard. And I know that supplement companies would like it, or I know their goal is to make rituals out of it. That, before bed you always have this, or
every day.
Yeah, but
That's
no.
that's the key to selling a
Right,
product.
and that's the key to selling it and making money. But that's never will I ever recommend to a client like that. Like, every day you should take your green juice. Like, no, every day you should try and get fucking vegetables.
Yeah.
Every day your goal should be not to take it.
Supplement with it.
But the reality is, because I even know that I'm trying that. There's a lot of days that I fall short of that. So then I utilize it like that. That's, but I'm not having it going like, I'm doing a good job. I'm having my green juice every single day. I'm going, I didn't get enough vegetables in today, so now I'm having this, or I'm really stressed, and so now I'm using this tool. It's not like something that you want to become something that's a ritual. And I'm sure the company is probably doesn't get excited about hearing, but that's just how. That's the truth.
Just gonna be honest.
Yeah, no, that's how, and that's the
100%.
only way I would ever feel comfortable ever even selling.
I
any
probably
sort.
use it more than any of you guys, I'm sure.
The green juice.
Yeah, all of their stuff, probably. Just because I like it. You know why? Because we have it in the closet over here. So in between episodes, I tend to go out there and mix them up. So
Yeah, the green juice, I mean, that's one I actually do use quite consistently.
Do you really?
Yeah, I'm not a big supplement guy to begin with, and that's something that I have used that like more
Well,
than
don't
most.
you? I think it's because, at least for me, the hardest thing, and I remember after we had Terry Walls on the show.
Yeah.
And
Yep, great example.
when we had her on the show, and she talked about 6 to 8 like large servings of vegetables every day, and I was like,
Even if you think you're doing well,
right,
You're not even close.
And
that's exactly what.
And that was something that really was like, wow, I'm like nowhere near that, and so that's why I think I use it as much as I use it, is because it's rare that I ever get close. It's rare that I have 4 or 5 meals and all 4 or 5 of them have a really big look. But I do. Sometimes I do. And when I do, then I'm not drinking the green juice. But And I may not even do it if I miss one day like that. Oh, one day. But if I, know that, hey, it's been a couple days since I've been very consistent with my vegetables, 100% I'm using it. So I for sure use that one the most.
It's that whole, most people underestimate or overestimate their consumption of particular things. So like if something's supposed to be good for you, we tend to overestimate it. Like if you talk to the average person and say, hey, do you eat enough vegetables throughout the day? Like, yeah, I think I do. Mm-hmm. But then when they start to track, you're like, well, you actually don't, right? Or do you eat too many calories? No, I don't eat too many calories. And they track and like, well, actually, you are eating far too many calories. So I think it's one of those things where we tend to underestimate, and vegetables is part of it. It's like like when we do those omega-3 tests and we look at the omega-3 levels in our blood, and you're thinking like, I eat enough fish, and then you look at it and you're like, I'm not. My omega-3s are too low.
That is shocking.
So I need to take fish oil to get that up.
That was shocking. to me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
This quaz brought to you by Organifi. For those days you fall short on getting your organic veggies or whole food nutrition, Organifi fills the gap with laboratory-tested certified organic superfoods to help give your health and performance the added edge. Try Organifi totally risk-free for 60 days by going to Organifi.com. That's ORGANIFI.com. And use the coupon code MINDPUMP for 20% off at checkout. Our first question is from Out Counting Stars. Can you please give your opinion on vibrating, pulsating tools that every celebrity and gym is promoting? Do they have any benefit, or are they BS?
These aren't what you're thinking, Joseph.
I love those rabbits, right?
Yeah, not those tools.
Whoa. My bad.
What are they talking about exactly?
So they're talking
I
about
have a few ideas.
They're talking about the Theragun. They're talking about the foam rollers that vibrate. The little
like those tools that Dr. Brink had.
Well,
at
yeah,
his
we have
place.
some here. We have
the Hyper Ice ones.
There you go.
The Hyper Ice. Those are great. Actually, I love. My favorite one is that ball, the one that you kind of get right on the Piriformis. Yeah.
So we do have them here. I use them pretty infrequently. It's not like a go-to thing that I utilize, but I would say this last year, because we've had them in the studio for this whole last year, I probably used them 10 times. Mm-hmm. I'd say about 10 times I use it. It's a tool. It's like I think that
they've been around forever. I mean, the original massaging tools were these big vibrating head massagers that unfortunately started getting used for sex, but really they were designed for fortunately they were used for loosening up muscles. And really the way they work, or the way I think that they work, is when you send that kind of a signal to the body where it's so fast that it causes the central nervous system to almost relax. Yeah. And so when you're foam rolling, for example, and I'm trying to work out a muscle, really what I'm trying to do is I'm applying pressure, it's painful, and it's telling my CNS to calm down so that muscle then kind of loosens up. The vibrating component, I think, accelerates that process and also makes it a little bit less painful because it's sending so many different signals that you're not perceiving the pain the same way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like it's almost like when you put menthol on something that hurts. Mm-hmm. The menthol isn't making the pain go away in the sense that it's penetrating and
giving you a different sensation.
It's a different
focus on.
Yeah, and your brain is perceiving the cold rather than the pain, so you don't feel it. And so that's what these vibrating tools I think help do.
I heard somebody describe like they called it the overbearing mother, the central nervous system, sometimes because of all of the governings that are in place, to kind of protect you, and sometimes it can really. The signal is way too strong. And, for like the vibrating tool for me, if I'm driving and I've constantly been in traffic all the time and I get really tight and I do mobility flows and I really kind of try and get movement. But sometimes, I'm still like, I got these knots and I got things that are really restrictive, and that signal is just overbearing. And so that's when I'll use the vibrating. It really does help to kind of get me into that place.
Here's a good experiment you could do on your own to see kind of how this works. So try to hold on to something stable like a pull-up bar. Like let's say you're holding onto a pull-up bar and you're trying to hang as long as you can, and then have somebody apply very strong vibration to the bar. So maybe they put something like a vibrator or something on the bar, make it vibrate, and notice how much less time you can hold on to the bar. You'll find that you're not able to grip the bar because the vibration is almost weakening you. It feels like it's weakening you. And really what it's doing, again, is sending so many signals to the body that the CNS kind of backs off. It relaxes. You can't squeeze the bar anymore. It makes you feel like you need to let go. And so what they're doing is they're taking advantage of what's happening here with these tools that are designed to loosen up tight areas. Because many times when you feel tight, like if you feel tension in your neck or tightness in your back or your piriformis or your hips, really what you're feeling is tightness in the muscle, but it's not tight in the same way that like a rubber band will be tight or that a rope is tight. It's tight just because your central nervous system is sending a signal to that muscle, and it's telling it to be slightly flexed.
Right.
It's to be
Didn't
slightly
you used to
active.
visualize it like you're almost like kneading bread?
Yes.
You know, like way back in the day, like that's how I used to look at foam rolling and that whole process was I must be all bunched up with my muscle tissue and I have to like knead it out.
It's not true,
it's not
right?
like that. Yeah.
No, it was so mind-blowing for me to learn this later on in my career. Like stretching, for example, is a good example of this. I could take anybody who's tight and I can increase their range of motion by at least a couple inches within 30 minutes. Yeah. Like, it may be not permanent, but within, you know this, like you go and stretch, you'll find that at the end of your stretch session, you're more flexible and you have more range of motion than you did at the beginning. Now, does that mean that you actually lengthen the muscle? No, it just, your central nervous system literally laid off a little bit. It kind of took a back seat and allowed the muscle to relax a bit because the central nervous system now thinks it's safe to do so. And so these vibrating machines will do this, and so you can take advantage of this effect on your body when you're really tight. You know, another thing that does this are those big vibrating plates that you stand on.
Yeah.
What are those called?
Vibrating plates.
Something plate? Is it just vibrating plate?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, so
Power plate.
Power
Power
plate.
plate, thank you.
I remember when those first came out, I thought it was the biggest crock of shit ever. I was like, this is so stupid. Biggest waste of money
It's
of
like
all time.
$50,000.
Yeah, I still think it's an insane investment. I still don't think it's worth the investment. However, not that long ago, maybe about 4 years ago, I got a membership at the Club One gym down in Silver Creek, and they have a power plate in there. And because it's there, I messed with it a little bit, and I found that when I would just get on it and turn it on real strong, I could immediately get into a deeper squat position that would normally take me about 10 to 15 minutes of stretching and warming up to be able to do. Yeah. So it's like a faster way of getting my CNS to calm down a little bit.
Well, and these have become very popular. They're almost like attachments to a drill. I've seen which man, it feels good though. I mean, it's like a self massager or something along those lines, but at the same time, this is an acute sort of fix to the real underlying problem.
I wouldn't even call it a fix though, because
or just like relief, I should say. Yeah, not fix,
because there's a right way to use these, and then there's a waste of time way to use these.
Well, you're not. Here's the thing: we actually were in negotiations with a couple of these companies, and we didn't do it. And part of the reason why we didn't do it was, and I can almost guarantee almost all these people that you see on social media that are pushing it, it's performance driven. These companies want to pay you based off of your sales. And I look at this very, very similar to supplements. And one of the things that we would never do on this show is also be paid by a company based off of our performance with selling the supplements and pushing them. I think it's something that can absolutely aid in some relief, temporary relief, but you're not addressing the root cause. The same thing I believe about supplements. It's like, do I use vitamin D occasionally? Yeah, because I don't get enough sunlight sometimes. And so but ideally I would rather be in the sun and getting it naturally than me actually supplementing it. Well, if you roll or use these vibrating tools because you've got hip or knee pain and it gives you temporary relief, you're not fixing the problem. You're not fixing the root cause because it'll just keep happening to you again. And I didn't feel comfortable with us pushing a product like this and trying to get people to buy it and use it all the time when they're not really doing what they should be doing, which is addressing the root cause. Now, I was okay with us talking about it and sharing our stories on how we've all used it or we would utilize it, but to make us talk about it to where we are having to promote it, to sell it and push it all the time, just wasn't going to happen. And so
Well,
we completely turned that down because of that, because none of us in this room, I can't remember the last time I've seen either one of you on it. Now, we have them, and yes, I have used them. I said maybe 10 times this last year I've got on those things and used them, and I've had some client friends of mine and stuff that have used them. But I don't think it's something that like everybody needs to have. And in fact, I do think that you should go deeper into why. If my hip hurts and I've got pain there and I roll on this thing and oh, wow, it makes it feel better, that's not the answer to my problem. Isn't going and doing that. The same way I feel about a lot of chiropractors that just readjust you and make you feel better afterwards. It's not that the chiropractors aren't helping you or making you feel, they're not addressing the root cause by just popping you back into place. You need to do the work and figure out, why do I feel this way? And so that's kind of how I feel about these tools. I think it's a tool. I think it's something that if you have extra money to spend on things like this, I think that's great. I think, have it in your gym or have it in your gym bag as a nice go-to thing. But to just keep using it to alleviate this pain that you keep having on your IT or low back or your piriform or wherever you've got it, and just get in the habit of using that to relieve it, well, you're still setting yourself up for long-term failure because there's dysfunction going on that's causing that. And this isn't the answer to dysfunction. It's kind of a Band-Aid for it for temporary relief.
I think it could be a part of the answer. By itself, it's not.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah.
Just like chiropractic work. Chiropractic work can be a part of the answer. Good chiropractor adjusts you in place. Then you go do the exercises and the stretches.
There's still work involved.
Right, to solidify.
That's it. Just like massage. Massage, these tools, chiropractic, they're all different, but they're similar in the sense that, the way I would use a tool like this is I would use it to encourage a greater range of motion, but then I have to connect to that new range of motion and I have to change my recruitment patterns and I have to change my movement patterns. Otherwise, I'm going to end up back having to use this device again. Like, do you want to have to foam roll every single day just to have pain alleviation, or would you rather correct the reason why you have that pain to begin with? This was mind-blowing for me as a trainer. When I first understood this, it was like, oh, so I don't need to always have to really work out knots in my legs or my hips if I just learn how to prime properly, or if I learn how to
move better
so that doesn't become an issue anymore. And that's how you can use these properly. If they're used as Band-Aids constantly, that's all they're ever going to be is Band-Aids. And they may slow down the process of degeneration in terms of your movement and maybe your joints, but they're not going to stop it.
Yeah.
Like if you just only ever do this, like if you have back pain and you have to use one of these vibrating tools to make your back pain go away, and you do this every single day, at some point they're not even going to work anymore, because at some point the back pain is going to be so bad that there's issues that this vibrating gun or whatever isn't going to fix. But if you use this in a way to, like here's how I used to do it. I would have a client that would come in and, their mobility was bad because they were just hurt. So it was hard for us to even get into certain positions. So then I'd have a massage therapist work on them. Then they'd come out of the massage room. Now we're able to do a few exercises, the ones that are going to correct the problem in the first place. So all it did was it set me up in a way to now I can train them so that we can prevent this from happening in the first place. And over time, it got to the point where they didn't need to have anything take pain away before we got into the work. And then it got to the point when that pain didn't exist anymore. And so that's really the key with all this stuff, whether it's the power plate or the vibrating guns or chiropractors and any of that stuff. So there's definitely a value, but the way people are selling them, I think, is wrong.
Yeah.
I think I see a lot of people selling them as like, use this every day, never have back pain again, never have hip pain again, and whatever.
Well, it's because they have to sell it, like to Adam's point.
Yeah, and and I'm telling you, that's how, because we've been talking to two of the biggest companies in this for a long time now. I mean, they've sent us all the toys, we've got them in here and stuff, but the reason why we didn't pick them up is because we don't any commercials that we do with Mind Pump, we do organically, and we do like at our pace that we would utilize it, and we're not going to be
We're actually using it.
Well, yeah, I think that's how we keep integrity with the things that we market or sell on the show, is that it's not something that we have to push this many to make this much money, because then all of a sudden then I can't help it. I'm a salesman by heart, so then I'm going to be motivated to talk about my use with the vibrating thing all the time, and it's like, well, that's not.
I don't use it all the time.
Yeah, I don't use it all the time, and I wouldn't encourage somebody to use it all the time. I think it's a great tool and can be utilized, but I also would want. I mean, hey, I was probably 5 years straight the foam roll guy
Every time.
Every time.
Yeah, same.
All my
Everything.
clients before we even got started.
All my and I don't anymore, and that's just because I'm better educated on what exactly it was doing, and then better and not and that I wasn't addressing the root cause. I thought I was breaking up adhesions.
Yep.
I thought I was breaking up adhesions, and that was something I needed to do. And this was now understanding exactly what's going on with foam rolling now and how I can better prevent it through moving better. And this was before I was introduced to Ken Stretch and FRC type stuff. That now I'm like, I haven't touched a foam roll in years now. And those that have been listening to the show for a long time remember when I gave it up. I went on that when I went on my mobility kick. I started doing that and started priming before all of my workouts.
It was mind blowing for everybody.
I completely eliminated it and never looked back. And I feel better now and move better now than I ever have in my entire life. And I think to myself, wow, the progression that I made in that 1 to 2 year time of dropping the foam roll and actually addressing the dysfunction and then improving my mobility, I made more headway in those 2 years than I did my previous 12 years as a personal trainer, trying to deal with all this stuff. And I'm older and more broken down now than I was then.
Well, and that's what we hope for, to find that type of efficiency. It's like, oh, this is really what we need to be focusing on.
Here's an example, just to simplify, of how I would use a device like this. I use this very specific example. Let's say I had a client who came in with forward shoulder, upper cross syndrome, very common, right? Shoulders come forward, neck tends and head tends to come forward with it. And I'm trying to fix that. And the way I fix that is by strengthening the muscles that pull the shoulder blades back and down, right? Down, back, so that they're not rolled forward, and down so that they're not always shrugged. Because what happens when you have forward shoulder is they tend to also want to shrug quite a bit, or at least the muscles at the top, your upper trapezius muscles and other muscles are constantly being tight to try and stabilize the shoulders. So if I took someone like that who's a beginner and I want to fix that, and let's just say they're tight, they're really, really tight in their upper traps and the levator scapulae muscles, the muscles up by the neck. What I may do is I may try to do some rows and work on them, but they just can't get into that position because they're so damn tight. So then what I'll do is I'll get one of these vibrating tools and I'll put it on their trap and I'll work on both sides just to loosen it up enough so that we can then do the proper exercises to correct the problem. And this may be our pattern for the first couple months of training. Every time they come in, we got to loosen up those traps. Now let's do the exercises to fix your upper cross syndrome. Mm-hmm. But then after a couple months, I'm probably not going to ever need to use that tool again unless we encounter a similar problem in the future.
All right, our next question is from Lifted Minds. Thoughts on elevated heels during squats? They help me with knee pain and depth, but am I just making the problem worse?
Oh, this is a great follow-up to the last question that we just addressed.
This is one of those tricks, too, that when somebody says they really can't gain, they don't have any range of motion in their squat. We watched Dr. Brink do this and made examples out of people that like could not squat down and had all these first thing he did is elevate their heels, and it was like eye-opening to see how much range of motion that they could get just by doing that one thing.
Yeah, I was I've been all over the board on my thoughts on this, and now I think I have a more balanced opinion on this. Because initially, when I first started working out, I thought was perfectly fine. In fact, Arnold used to do this when he would work out, that he put a 2x4 underneath his heels, and he said, "Oh, it's good for people with long legs." And I'm relatively tall. I'm 6 feet tall, so I thought, okay, this is just how tall people squat. And then I got to the point where I thought, oh no, that's wrong. You should never elevate your heels. Mm-hmm. You should always be barefoot and flat because that's the way you're supposed to squat. And then I realized that elevating the heels changes the emphasis of the exercise. And so if you're a bodybuilder or you're focused on aesthetics and you want to really hit the quads, and let's say you're doing front squats, I mean, a great way to do it is to stand on one of those half foam rollers or put a couple plates underneath your heels, and it just gives you more knee extension and you get more of that quad activation. And so I see elevating the heels like I see changing any position of the body during exercises as a way to emphasize or de-emphasize parts of a lift. Now, that being said, if you have to elevate your heels, if you can't squat with flat feet, you should, or without your heels being elevated, I should say, then there's an issue there that you should probably address. And
I think that's everybody.
Yeah,
I don't think very many people are using squat. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I use them differently. You were the first person to get me to use them. I never used them, and I was against it. I used to
squat shoes.
Yeah, I used to knock a lot of people in the gym that would squat with elevated heels on plates. Like, what are you doing? Why would you do that? Mm-hmm. And I didn't understand the whole purpose behind it, other than freaking Arnold used to put it in his book way back in the days. And like you said, it was taller people would could benefit from squatting this way. And then when you got me to try a pair of squat shoes, and I squatted, and it did. I felt more comfortable than I ever felt in my life. And so then I went on a kick for a little while of like wearing my squat shoes all the time. And then it was when I met Brink, when he broke me down and just completely like tore me apart as far as my mechanics on the squat.
Ankle mobility specifically.
Exactly. And that really opened my eyes up that, the reason why I like these squat shoes so much is because it's crutching an issue that I have going on.
Yep.
And it didn't take me, but I don't know, maybe 6 months or so, which may sound like forever for somebody, but not if I've had issues with this for years and years and years, but 6 months of really addressing my ankle mobility. And then I was able to get to a point where I could squat barefoot, ass to grass, fully comfortable. But it was just because I had that limiting mobility in my ankle. Now, I still utilize my squat shoes. But when I do it, it's when I'm working like 90% of my 1 rep max or my max. And I use it more like a safety thing. It's like I know that I have constantly had to work on ankle mobility ever since I knew it was a limiting factor for me. And so if I don't address it and I'm not consistent with it, I very easily could start to regress back to where I was before. And so as a safety precaution, anytime that I'm pushing close to my max load on a squat, I'll pull my shoes out, just because if there is going to be a breakdown, and if I am going to compromise my low back or knees or anything, it's probably more likely going to happen when I'm trying to get this weight up because it's the heaviest weight. When I'm doing weight that I can control slowly and it's pretty easy for me to move for 5 or more reps, I mean, barefoot or normal shoes, I'm squatting in, and I've got no problem with that. I'm not worried about. But if I stack on a weight that is a little risky for me, that's when my belt and my squat shoes come out, and they come out as basically just purely a safe thing for me. That if I'm stretching myself right now, I'm going to crutch a little bit. I know that I can definitely with squat shoes now very comfortably sit all the way in the bottom of the squat. Where barefoot, it takes a little bit of priming work for me, and it can be a little compromising when I'm at the bottom. So that's how I use the squat shoes now. They still come with me in my bag everywhere I go. I use them, a handful of times every quarter when I'm stretching myself on a movement like that. But I think they've also become like the weight belt for bodybuilders.
Yeah.
Right? They've become this new thing that when I go to the squat rack now and I look down the row, everybody is wearing squat shoes. And
Is it like that now?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
I mean, my nephew.
Since there's more platforms now and squat racks, you see a lot of these, heel lifted type shoes.
Big time. Almost everybody now. It's rare actually when I'm over at the gym and I look down the 6 squat racks that I don't see everybody wearing squat shoes.
Really?
My nephew asked for them for Christmas this year, and he's in his early mid-20s.
CrossFit popularized squat shoes.
Yeah, exactly. And then Nike, because they actually make cool ones now, and you know what I mean. Like they figured out that there's a market for it now.
Yeah, they've been around forever, but nobody was wearing them before.
Yeah, they weren't as popular.
No, Olympic lifters wear them. Have worn them since forever.
Right.
Like they've been wearing them for a long time. Paul Anderson, who is one of the world's strongest men of all time. I want to say he was in the 50s. He was a competitor in the Olympics. He would lift in dress shoes because dress shoes have that natural heel.
That and construction boots used to be popular.
Yeah. For bodybuilders.
Yeah, back in the days, I would see, and I never understood it back then until now.
Yeah, same thing. I used to look at the old magazines like, why are they wearing it? Is it just for the pictures?
Yeah.
No, it's because construction boots have that natural
lift.
that natural heel.
Yeah.
I'm much less of a stickler about it now. Now, for the average client, I think you got to learn. if you can't squat with flat shoes, then you got to figure out why you can't and address it.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like bodybuilders and athletes especially, here's something that really woke me. And Justin, you're going to love this, I'm sure.
Well, I was probably going to talk about it. But
Were you really? Yeah. Well, why don't you get on it? Because athletes.
No, I want to hear your. Yeah.
Well, you're the one that really got me thinking about this. But if you're flat-footed in any sport, you're on
dead.
your ass.
Yeah, you're dead.
Yeah, you got to learn how to squat and move on your toes.
No, that's exactly what I was going to bring up. Yeah, because I mean, the way that we used to use them too, especially with front-loaded squats and then elevating your heel in a front-loaded squat. I mean, the forefoot is everything. Strengthening my feet, and especially my forefoot, is going to give me that proper force output. Like I have a firm ground to be able to work with and generate power from. So to be able to strengthen that and strengthen the base of that was really, essential and had massive carryover onto the field. So yeah, if you really think about that, like how often like athletes are just standing there flat-footed, it's a very rare occurrence. So why would we spend so much emphasis on loading a substantial amount of weight where everything was nicely balanced? It's the same argument I have with eliminating unilateral type training for something like as complex as football, basketball, whatever. It's like you need to be able to stabilize so many different forces and be able to move efficiently in all directions.
Yeah, I guess the way I would look at it for the average person is if you can't squat, there's a lot of reasons why you might not be able to squat, but if one of the reasons why you can't squat is because your feet are flat and you need to elevate your heels, address that, fix that first. Get to the point where you can comfortably squat with flat shoes, good posture, and you're doing great. Then you can have fun with the heel elevating, types of things. I see, Ben Pekulski and Jordan Shallow doing, these front squats where their heels are really elevated and it's a lot of quad emphasis. Yeah. I mean, that is a quad fucking killer. Yep. Or you do an old school barbell hack squat. You ever do a hack squat with a barbell? The old school where it's behind you and your heels are elevated. Yeah. It's almost like between a squat and a sissy squat, right? It's a lot of knee extension and it really hammers the quads. So there's not a problem per se with elevating the heels, but if like what you're writing here, they help me with knee pain and depth. Yeah, you're putting a Band-Aid on a cut.
Let's look at your ankle mobility is what that says.
That's right, and you know what's going to end up happening? You're going to strengthen that mobility issue. You're going to make it worse by making it more solidified and stronger. Like imagine if you get to the point where like, oh, you know what? Only way I can squat is with these squat shoes or elevated heels, and then you get really, really strong at it. Now that becomes like the way that you squat. Now it's going to be a lot harder to back out and learn how to do a brand new squat with your feet flat and with different positioning, and you're more likely to hurt yourself as a result. So I would say get strong, learn how to get strong with the least amount of tools possible. And then as you get there, you can have fun, mess around with things.
Next question is from Ward Jojo. How do you differentiate discipline from restriction? Do you see it as a fine line when it comes to nutrition or training?
Discipline and restriction.
Well, I think you say it really well, Sal, where you talk about, you got to get away from saying things like, I can't have that cookie, and I think that's the difference between discipline and like restricting yourself from having something. Like absolutely you can, but you're disciplining yourself to feed your body in a way that is optimal or ideal for whatever your potential goals are or what you're trying to do. So I think I think that's the difference that I see, like is when I think of, when I'm trying to apply whatever like a goal that I have right now, fitness, since we're talking fitness, obviously fitness related, I'm going to go, okay, these are XYZ things that I need to do to accomplish that, and I'm going to be disciplined about it. It's not like this restriction where I can't have, like I can absolutely do whatever the fuck I want. It's that I want to be disciplined about it because I want to get to my goal. So I look at it, I think, differently, and I think a lot of clients, when I first get them as a client, and I had a hard time communicating this for a really long time, and I really think that you said it well, Sal, on the show a long time ago, and that's just that, get away from this idea of it's a can or can't have type of situation. It's more around the lines of, you are really loving yourself and you're really taking care of yourself by doing these things for your body that are not only heading towards your goal, but actually is taking care of you better. And I think when you start to look at it in a different light, I think it makes it easier to be disciplined towards these things versus a restriction thing. Because if you do it like a restriction thing or I can't have thing, that tends to always fail eventually.
It'll fail because nobody likes to be restricted. Understand this. If you're restricting yourself, by the way, mental state around things is everything. Mm-hmm. The difference between discipline and restriction is everything in basically how you view it. So we'll use the cookie example. If I say to myself, if someone says, "Hey, have a cookie," and you say, "Oh, I can't have that. I want it, but I can't have it." That is a very different feeling than me saying, "I don't want it." Very, very different. And now I know a lot of people are hearing and say, "But I do want it." Actually, you don't. You acknowledge that you want the flavor, you like the taste, and that you'll enjoy it, but you're also acknowledging that you don't want what comes along with it. So the reality is the underlying answer, the real answer, the total answer is, I don't want it, right? Like, let's say you're in a relationship, you're dating somebody, you're in a very committed relationship, then you meet a coworker, they're attractive, and you're attracted to them. Are you restricting yourself by not sleeping with them because you are attracted to them? Or are you saying to yourself, I mean, they're attractive, but I don't want to do that because I know what comes along with it? It's no different. It's a different mentality, and that's the mentality that is the restriction mentality is a failing mentality every single time. Mm-hmm. Here's another example. Like, think about when you wake up in the morning and brush your teeth. Do you think to yourself, "Oh, God, I don't want to brush my teeth. Oh, my God, I got to force myself to brush my teeth." Imagine if you did that every day. You would never brush your teeth. You want to brush your teeth.
It's punishing yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the whole restrictive mentality. It's punishing. It's sort of like paying for the sins, and I'm abstaining from this because I'm so bad and I can't control myself. Versus like I'm taking ownership of this and I'm applying. Every day is a new day and a new practice, and this is a discipline that I'm going to continue. So it's a longer thought process mentality where restriction to me always just feels temporary. It feels like, well, I can't have that now, but it's like I know that I'm going to do it. Right. I know that I'm going to get myself some more cookies.
Well, I agree with what they say right here. I mean, I do think there's a very fine line. Yeah. There's a very fine line, but between that, and I think that line gets blurred a lot for people that they think that the art of discipline is this ability for them to just refrain from it from a certain amount of time. It's like, no, you need to keep reminding yourself. Like, and I love the analogy that you give with the cheating on somebody, Sal, because that's a good point. Like, it's exactly like that. It's very much so. You'll probably struggle with being faithful in a relationship if you view it that way all the time of like, God, I want her so bad, but I can't have her. I want her so bad. It's never going to get out of your fucking mind. And eventually you probably will break down versus like, I can acknowledge, wow, she's gorgeous. And I'm attracted to that person, but I also love my partner, and I also know that what that could potentially do to.
So I really don't want to be.
So I really don't want to be with that person. I don't want to ruin this thing that I actually value more, and I know I value it more, but I'm currently distracted visually right now. The same thing goes with nutrition when you look at a cookie, because when you look at a cookie, all the thoughts of, man, when it hits your mouth and all those markers go off in your brain and it feels really good and it tastes really good going down. But then you
especially Oreos.
But then you forget about how you feel afterwards. The guilt, maybe the stomach ache from it, also what it may cause. It kicks up more of an appetite, and then you don't just have one, you have two or you have three. I mean, if you can just start to look at it like all the other things that come with that, and then ask yourself, truly, do I truly want all of that? Do I want all of that? Because it all comes with it. And so I think if you...
It does, because in the other thing, too, is when you're restricted for something, it actually... There's this strange psychological phenomenon that happens with humans where...
we can't have.
Right. If we're told we can't have something, even if it's telling ourselves, it actually increases it makes it more alluring. It becomes more... That's why things that are taboo tend to be alluring. And now, why do we do this, right? We got to ask ourselves, why do we look at things as restrictions? Because in the short term, it's a very easy, simple, effective way of getting us to do what we want to do. It really is. Like, in the short term, if I want to lose 10 pounds, and I'm not even thinking long term, in the short term, a very simple way to do it is to split myself up into two people. The person that is the bad person that wants to eat all the food, and then the dictator that says you can't. And the dictator is the one that's in charge. And so over the next month, the dictator is going to say, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. But long term, it's terrible because at some point, the rebel wins. At some point, the dictator gets overthrown. There's a mutiny, and what does it end up looking like? Think about it this way: somebody who's disciplined with nutrition, when they do eat an Oreo, you know how they do it? They eat one Oreo or two Oreos.
Yeah.
Somebody who's restricted, they literally are rebelling. They are literally rebelling. Yeah. It's a psychological phenomenon. Yeah. They're not even eating it for the pleasure of eating it. You talk to anybody who's ever restricted and then binged, you ask them, did you enjoy eating an entire box of cookies?
Right.
And they'll say, no, actually, I didn't enjoy. I enjoyed the first two. Yep. And then after that, I just kept scarfing them down faster than I could process. And my stomach was hurting and I still felt terrible and I kept going because it's like this floodgate of rebellion that's coming through. And it's really us fucking ourselves is really what it is. Yeah. So you have to look at everything. Like you can acknowledge that not going to the gym, laying on the couch, watching TV, like, oh yeah, that's going to feel good.
Temporarily.
It's going to be so relaxing. I'm going to enjoy watching that movie. That's going to be fun. I can acknowledge that. However, what else does that come with? Like, I'm not going to be as fit. I'm not going to have as much energy. I'm probably not going to feel as good in the morning.
Not as productive.
Not as productive. Maybe not going to look the way I want to look. Okay, now let's talk about the gym. Like, okay, yeah, it's going to hurt. Definitely pain, but I'm going to have more energy. And, sometimes I enjoy that pain and I like the sweat. And sometimes I like the workout. And then afterwards, I'm going to feel real good and accomplished. Weigh it all out, and at the end of the day,
ask yourself which one you want.
That's it. And the reality is, you can acknowledge that you may enjoy the aspects of the thing that you don't want, but the reality is, overall, you don't want it. And it's very easy, man. It's so easy for me to say, I don't want that pizza. Really hard for me to say, I can't have that pizza. That is a fucking losing battle, and I guarantee that you will not succeed if that's the way you view things. And that goes for pretty much anything else.
Mm-hmm. Next question is from S. Miller Fit. How would you go about training someone who makes constant efforts to stall and chat during their sessions?
Oh my God! Fire your fucking gym partner.
Did you guys ever have?
Of course.
Did you ever have clients like this?
This is why and we haven't gone off on this in a while. I remember when we first started, we actually talked about this type of stuff early on because we all were sharing, how we like to work out, and people were asking questions about our own personal training. And I don't like to work out with anybody. I find it. I understand it, and I did for a very long time with my buddies and stuff like that. But it's rare that you're ever going to find a friend who needs exactly the same thing in the gym as you need. Even if you guys have similar body types and similar goals, for the most part, most people should be kind of doing their own thing in the gym. So bringing a partner involved in that, somebody always has to suffer. Right? Somebody always gets the shittier end of the stick, right? Now, for a long time, I just led and said, oh, whatever. If you want to work out with me, that's fine. Like, I'm doing this. And if you want to come along, that's fine. But this has happened to me many times where you have a friend that wants to make working out halfway fun and they want to talk in the middle of it, and it's just not that for me. For me, it's like church, man. I'm here to absorb everything. And I don't want any distractions. I want to be completely into what I'm doing, and I want it to be peaceful. And so, I'll drop you like a bad habit real quick.
No,
if you're someone like that.
As far as workout partners are concerned, I'm completely on you. But I think they're asking about a client.
Oh, about clients.
Like, how would you go about training someone who makes constant efforts? Because that's two different things, right? Like a workout partner, I'm with you, dude. I'll be like, all right. Yeah,
this is like
we're
client?
never working out. I think that's maybe what they're asking.
Well, fire them too.
Yeah, it's a stall technique.
Yeah, because clients do this shit all the time.
Oh yeah.
Oh, especially
This is super common,
especially if the intensity starts to go up, or they're trying to get more rest in their periods. I think, it's really just about keeping them busy and putting it in front of them. And
that's what I used to.
That's what I would do.
I would hand them the weight.
I would just say hand them the weight as they're talking. I'm like, we're here to work, man.
Didn't I share this on this podcast? The client that I used to have that was really good at doing this. Like he figured me out.
Because he asked you questions about fitness.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes. I have those too.
Yes.
They hack the system.
That is hacking the system. Because if you're just talking about your day, I'm with Justin. Like if you're a client and you're, sharing like personal bullshit or whatever like that, and you're doing it just to stall, like I'll just fucking hand you the weights. But where you used to be able to get me was if you asked really intelligent questions regarding either nutrition or working out or why are we doing this exercise.
Well, then that's valuable.
Right, because that's how they would get me.
You're like, that's my job.
Yeah, this is my job, and I do believe that educating them is actually as or more valuable than the actual workout that they're doing there with me, and so that would be a good way for me to. So I guess as a trainer, I think there is that fine line. Like if you're chatting about things, I'm educating you and we're talking and where you're not doing a lot of sets, I could argue that that's as valuable or more valuable than the actual workout with you. Mm-hmm. I definitely could see that. But if you're just chatting about your day and your personal bullshit and you're talking like that, like, yeah, that's exactly what you do. You just hand them the weight.
What did you do with your client that hacked it and just knew to just ask you about?
I called him out on it eventually. Like I finally I complimented him. I said, "Boy, you are a smart cookie." This time, he got away with it for probably weeks on weeks with training with me before I really. And you know what it was I caught him one time, like looking up to the right, and you could see him trying to think of a question that was intelligent to ask me, to set me up, to get me to talk. And when I could see that he was drawing a blank, and then I realized, oh, you're just fishing for fitness questions to ask me. So I would sit here so you don't have to go to your next second. Let's go. Let's move,
Yeah.
But, there again, if it's something that is not related to fitness or personal goals, things like that, then I definitely would do what Justin just said, which is I would just hand him the weight or start moving.
I've done that so many times, like literally halfway through their sentence, blah, blah, blah. Oh, let me tell you what happened. Here's the weight. Go and hold this and start the exercise.
Yeah, I do like the head nod thing.
Newer trainers will have a problem with this than more experienced trainers, because I think newer trainers are afraid to, like, they don't want to upset their clients.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I want to be nice. Like, I don't want to interrupt them while they're working out, or while they're talking, I should say.
Yeah.
I would stop people, like, while I'd be like, hold that thought. We got to do another set. Mm-hmm. I would just interrupt them. Mm-hmm. Or if a client's trying to talk while they're doing the set, which is another one, then I'd say, let's talk about this while we're resting. The other thing you can do is if you have someone that's just fucking incessantly a problem with this, where you only got through 2 exercises in the whole hour because they talked to you the whole time, get a stopwatch that bings every 60 seconds. No joke. Like, done with the set, hit your stopwatch. They could talk, bing, oh, we got to go. And then that will kind of prompt you to be the asshole who says, we got to do the next set. Yeah. But, the thing is about being a trainer is you are the leader.
Yeah.
They're hiring you to be the authority. You're the authority. If you show weakness in the sense, and I don't mean weakness like you're not a nice guy or whatever, but if you show like your lack of confidence and the client kind of dictates the session quite a bit,
they'll prey off of that.
Not only will they prey off of it, but you'll actually not be a successful trainer.
Yeah.
People think that that's what they want as clients, but then they'll stop respecting you.
Exactly. And I think that you have to realize you have only a certain allotted time with this individual that they've paid for. And so I always keep that in the back of my mind is how effective I can be. But there's conversations that are valuable, and there's ways of still incorporating the dialogue and having fun and all of that, and like making the experience enjoyable. But that kind of a client actually appreciates that you keep them going, you keep them moving in the process, because that's their go-to with, I'm sure, a lot of different things that they get involved in, to where they can kind of talk their way around and people don't really corral them when they need to be corralled.
Well, I'm with Sal on this that you're the driver in this, and I think that a lot of trainers use this as an excuse to kind of cruise. I mean,
because they like to talk too.
Yeah, I'll be the first to admit. I remember having clients where I was just like, oh, I can't wait to see Susie because we don't even do but 2 exercises, and she just wants to talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't got to do a lot of thinking, a lot of doing anything, and she just wants. I know what she really hires me for is to vent about her day, and at first it seems like an okay idea as a trainer, because you're like, fuck it. I mean, if she wants to do that, then it's her money, and that's how she wants to do it. But then, at the end of the day, they hired you because they want to see results. And then at the end of the day, too, you have to keep in mind, and this is what I used to always tell my trainers, is that, at all times, you're on stage at all times as a trainer. And many, many times, did I get clients that approached me and bought training from me, and then they would tell me that they watched every other trainer in the gym for months, and they bought training from me because they saw the way that I interacted and I trained my clients. So there's a very high percentage of people that purchase training this way, which makes total sense because I think that's what I would do too. If I'm in a gym that I've been in for months or years and been going there and I'm thinking about training with a trainer, that before I go walk up and just buy one or say, hey, I want to hire this guy or girl, I'm probably going to scope them out and watch them for a few weeks or maybe even a few months of how they interact with their people. And, you never know what hour that could be. And maybe this massive client who could end up being, some huge CEO that's going to probably end up training 4 days a week with you for the next 5 years is watching you with that client that you're just standing there talking to for 10 minutes instead of actually exercising. And that may be just enough to convince that guy who's really serious about his goal and wants a trainer to hold him accountable and take him for wherever. And that you have no idea, and you'll never know. But he just now discounted you as a trainer, no matter how good you are and what's going on, because that's what he sees and he perceives.
It's funny too. There's a bit of a balance too with this. Like I think about all the clients that I train for, 10, 12, 15 years, and there's definitely a balance in the sense that, if you're training someone 2 or 3 days a week for years, you're not going to have every session is not going to be all business. It's just not. These are regular people. They're looking to just feel better. They're not hardcore into fitness like you are, maybe as being a personal trainer. So some of the sessions may be easier, may involve more conversing, may involve, maybe this person really didn't want to work out today, but they enjoy coming to see you. So there is a little bit of that balance, because I also don't want to give out the impression that, your client comes in and just, for them it is a big step just to be there and they're doing some exercises.
It's therapeutic.
And there is a therapeutic effect of talking and hanging out and you guys have a good connection. And to not be that asshole that's like, no, blow the whistle, do another set.
Right.
Because that also is also too extreme on one end for most clients. For most clients, it's too extreme to do that all the time. So there is a little bit of that balance. And you as the trainer have to be the one to know when we've been slacking a little too much. And okay, like I get it now. You want to hang out a little bit. Let's go and do that. While we're hanging out, here's one thing that I used to do with clients that would do that is I would make it productive. So like, okay, like I could see that this workout, we're not going to go as hard. Let's do some stretches. While I'm stretching you, I can answer these questions and we can go over these things. Or let's do this exercise that requires a little bit less focus type of deal. One of the reasons why I loved training the elderly was because the rest periods were long. And they would ask a lot of questions and we'd have great conversation in between. So selfishly, I would get all this wisdom from some of these clients and I would ask them questions in between sets and they loved it because, they're 85 and they like to have somebody to talk to. And I think they view some of them actually, I had a few of them that would have my picture on their fridge and their friends would come over and be like, is that your grandson? Like, no, that's my trainer. I help him out with his problems and he trains me and stuff like that.
Buff.
Yeah, it's really cool. So there's a little bit of a delicate balance there, but and be honest too. I used to tell clients, I'd be very open with them, like, okay, yeah, I think you're just trying to not do the next set. Yeah. But you are the leader and you have to be the one to lead the direction with the session, and people love it. I remember learning this as a trainer early on, where clients would respect it. I remember I had a client. God, this was early on in my career, and she goes, "I don't want to work my back. I just want to do legs." And I stopped her and said, "Actually, we're not going to do legs today. We're going to do back." And she's like, "But I don't want to do that." And I'd say, "Well, this is what I do. I'm the trainer. You told me what your goals are, and here's why it's important to work out your back. And my integrity won't allow me to train you improperly. So we're going to work out your back today." And she was like, "Okay." Like, she respected the fact that I was confident enough to talk to her in that way. So anyway, so check this out. If you go to mindpumpfree.com, you can download any one of our guides for free. You can also download all of them for free. In fact, there's no limit. You can get them all.
Free.
Costs you nothing. You can also find us on Instagram on our personal pages. My Instagram page is mindpumpsal. Adam is mindpumpadam, and Justin is mindpumpjustin.
Thank you for listening to Mind Pump. If your goal is to build and shape your body, dramatically improve your health and energy, and maximize your overall performance, check out our discounted RGB Super Bundle at mindpumpmedia.com. The RGB Super Bundle includes MAPS Anabolic, MAPS Performance, and MAPS Aesthetic. 9 months of phased expert exercise programming designed by Sal, Adam, and Justin to systematically transform the way your body looks, feels, and performs. With detailed workout blueprints and over 200 videos, the RGB Super Bundle is like having Sal, Adam, and Justin as your own personal trainers, but at a fraction of the price. The RGB Super Bundle has a full 30-day money-back guarantee, and you can get it now plus other valuable free resources at mindpumpmedia.com. If you enjoy this show, please share the love by leaving us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes and by introducing Mind Pump to your friends and family. We thank you for your support, and until next time, this is Mind Pump.